This article was tagged to me on Twitter, and shout out to Bill Dixon because he's the one that tagged me, and it's coming from the Business Insider, and it's going to talk about the racial wealth gap. Now, this is a conversation that has been had amongst us in mainstream media for years now, but it always literally comes back to a thing of trying to make it seem like we are so lazy and we don't want to work or try to put ourselves in position to balance things out. When, to be honest, it was never meant to be balanced in the first place. Now, this article that I'm about to read from the Business Insider reads, and this is the title: "The racial wealth gap in the U.S. keeps getting bigger, and it could cost the economy as much as $1.5 trillion by 2028. That's 9 years from now. Now, it says by 2028. It doesn't say it will happen in 2028, which means it could happen before then. It's just that they expect it to actually be solidified by that year. 9 years may seem like a lot, but it can fly by in an instant. As a matter, because think about it, we are almost in 2020. We are about to enter the third phase of the 2000s. But let me go ahead and read this article. It says the United States wealth gap is hurting more than just the poorest Americans. It's stifling economic growth too, according to a new report by consulting firm McKinsey & Company. The concentration of wealth among America's highest earners will cost the economy between $1 trillion and $1.5 trillion between 2019, which is this year, and 2028. The United States wealth gap is steadily widening, especially along racial lines. In 1992, the median net worth of white families was $100,000 above that of black families, according to McKinsey. By 2016, the median white family was $152,000 wealthier than its black counterpart. During that period, the median wealth of white families grew over $50,000, but the median wealth of black families did not grow at all in real terms. And see, when you put that out there, people are going to gravitate to the, oh, we just don't want to work, or we don't want to be better for ourselves. No, this was all by design. When you give a group of people the power of economy and wealth in this establishment or any place, they're going to control the flow of the money, how much they're going to get versus how much everyone else is going to get. And we've always gotten the crumbs. Even down to business, we've never been able to really thrive that well in the economy. And when we tried, they've always done something sneaky or underhanded to make sure that we didn't get very far. Why do you think Black Wall Street ended up being demolished? Because they didn't want to compete with us. They want to control everything. And by them doing that, that's going to be their ultimate downfall. This is why tangibles and reparations, or however you want to put it, is definitely needed more so for us at this point, more than a want, because that's the only way they're going to get their economy back on track. You saw where it says $1.5 trillion. They said that we on the low end are owed 17.1 trillion. If we was to get that money or that whatever those resources, it could balance back out the economy. But see, they are so egotistical and so tight about everything that they will willingly let this ship sink than to have it survive another few decades, meaning give us what is owed. So if you really want to be honest, they are the group that want to see this establishment fall and crash and burn, mainly because they don't want to give us what is owed to us. So think about that. The only way they can really pull themselves out of this debt is by paying the debt to us that is owed for hundreds of years of chattel slavery on the backs of our ancestors, and then some. The gap reduces the buying power of black families and prevents investment in the housing and equities market, according to McKinsey. If the gap between black and white families were closed, the U.S. would add an additional 4 to 6% to its GDP by 2028. So that means if they want to close this gap, they will have to divvy up those tangibles between this time frame. But something just tells me that they are going to be so, I guess you can say, so wicked about it that they're not going to do it. They, like I said, they at this point probably don't mind seeing this whole this economy and this establishment just die out. At this point, they probably don't care. They would rather that happen than give us what is owed. Persistent discrimination and a lack of social connections that typically lead to new opportunities have kept black families poor. The amount of wealth held by black families fell 3.4% each year between 2004 and 2016. So you're talking about roughly a little over 10% in total. The student debt crisis also hurts African Americans more than their white peers. Business Insider's Alana Akhtar and Hillary Hoffer previously reported. On average, black college graduates owe $7,400 more in student loans than their white peers. Black college graduates also earn less than white graduates on average, making it harder to pay back their loans. Well, you got to also now throw into the fact that a lot of those our palm-colored counterparts in that college scandal that they just recently got busted with also helped them too. Meanwhile, we have to earn our way in on our merit and, good grades, good test scores, and everything else that is required to even get a decent scholarship. The problem of economic inequality has received growing interest from presidential candidates and billionaires alike in recent months. A new tax that will require ultra-wealthy Americans pay the federal government a small percentage of their net worth each year has been proposed by Elizabeth Warren, Business Insider previously reported. Warren estimates that the tax would generate $2.75 trillion in revenue in a decade that could be used to close the wealth gap by funding programs that benefit poor Americans. An Insider poll shows that more than half of Americans support Warren's proposal. And they're not the only ones. In June, a group of 19 ultra-wealthy Americans, including George Soros, Abigail Disney, and members of the Pritzker and Gunn families, published an open letter supporting moderate wealth tax. However, such a tax will face substantial legal challenges and will likely not raise as much revenue as its advocates expect. Former Department of Justice tax attorney James Mann, who is now a tax partner at law firm Greenspoon Martyr, told Business Insider. So as you can tell, this racial wealth gap has gone on so long that now it's literally coming to a head. And now they have a decision to make. Either they pay up the tangibles that are owed to ADOS in particular, or they can continue to see this economy crash and burn. Really, the decision now is literally all up to them. The ball is in their court. They created this monster. Now they have to deal with it. The same monster that is biting them in the ass right now will soon be the one that's just going to just gobble them up and consume them all and just eat them all up like it's, the last meal.